Hello and welcome to this Be Smart About Art World monthly webinar video recap. My name is Susan Mumford and I'm pleased to welcome today our guest speaker, Deborah Henry-Pollard of Catching Fireworks. Hello, Debs.
Hello there, Susan.
It's a pleasure to have you. And what we're addressing in today's session is defining your vision. Deborah will give us insight into this really important subject for everyone in the creative industries. I'll tell you a bit about Deborah's background before delving into several questions that we have for her that are really key to understanding this subject. She's a coach working with people in the creative sector. She helps them to find and build on their own vision. Her aim is to help you light the blue touch paper, as she calls it, which sends the creative fireworks into orbit, bearing in mind the title of her business, Catching Fireworks. Her aim is to help light the blue touch paper. She also has the desire that you discover the skills and imagination to feed your creative work that can also be used to be successful in other areas of your professional lives. She uses her coaching experience, plus the skills, experience, and empathy that she has gained in over 30 years of working life to support creative practice in your own practice. She's worked with individuals and organizations ranging from the English National Opera to Cameron Mackintosh, amongst others. She can help you to see the big vision and the small next step, equally important to getting there. And she works to your strengths and is committed to supporting you in finding your own solutions and recognizing your own greatness. The key areas in which she specializes are supporting you in finding and clarifying your vision for your future and identifying the next steps, coaching you in being more productive and being effective. Let's delve right into the questions that we have for her today. Deborah, what is the importance of a vision? Why would you even have one?
Because I always say we're all going to be somewhere in 5 years' time, and by having a vision, it helps you to decide where you want to be rather than just drift and hope for the best. So it gives you a direction, it gives you something to really work towards. It's no good if you're just hoping that you're going to be represented by a gallery if you don't actually do something about trying to find out how to get there. It keeps you focused and positive. I would love to say that if you think happy, positive thoughts, only happy, positive things happen, but that's not the way life is, and there will be setbacks along the way. But the thing is, if you have a particular sale you want to make, and that's all you're focusing on, and it goes wrong, it can seem like the end of the world, and it can be such an awful blow to you. But if you've got a bigger vision, so this next sale is just the next step in a bigger vision, you will still get upset about not making the sale because you're only human, and moments like that I heartily endorse going away and having a damn good cry or a shout or something. But you can then say, okay, that happened, it's over, what can I learn from that, how can I move forward, because I've still got this bigger game that I'm playing in. It can give you a clear message to communicate. Because you never really know who you're talking to. You might think that you're talking to somebody who has no interest in the arts whatsoever, but you don't know what they do in their spare time. You don't know who their partner is. You don't know who their best friend is, or their father, or their next door neighbor. And they might just know the next person that you need, the next chain in the link, or they might have just read an article. So if you say, well, actually, I've always fancied being represented by such and such a gallery, they might say, oh, well, I've just read something about them, that they're looking for new people, or they're changing direction. And it's just that little nugget of information that can change how you look at something and can be your next step forward. It can make you aware of opportunities because if you have this vision in your subconscious all the time, it kind of keeps jumping out at you, so that you look maybe in maybe you're looking on a site on the internet and you're just browsing, and before you had your vision you were just browsing, but with this little voice in the background that's always saying to you, well, what about the thing you want to do next? You might just see something that goes, oh, now that's interesting. it might not be exactly the thing you want, but you can kind of see how it can link into your vision and your dream. And it might be an opportunity to do some work with someone, to collaborate with someone, to learn a new skill, or to look a new way at something. Or it could be you could have hit a little block in your vision, and you just see some odd little thing. You go, oh, now that's really interesting. That could be a way for me to get over this problem I've got at the moment. And this all makes you more proactive. So instead of just sitting there and thinking, well, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if these people could see me? Wouldn't it be nice if I could get my work seen there, or I could learn this? It makes you actually go out and find these opportunities and say, well, I'm going to ring that person up. You know, they might turn around and say no, but at least I will know. I can ring them up, and they might even recommend me to someone else. But it just gives you that impetus to keep moving forward.
Right, and I do notice that word "if" as well. So that vision doesn't really get into that kind of mindset. Now, how do you then start thinking about your vision?
Well, I'm a great believer that deep down we all really know what we would like to do, but we have all the kinds of the oughts and the shoulds and the things that everybody else puts on us, and the conversation we have about we don't have the right background or the right experience, you know, all that stuff that we say to ourselves that we would never allow anyone else to say to us. And I always say, take yourself away and just let yourself daydream and think about, you could start off by thinking, what does success mean to you? You know, are you doing your work because of the money? Do you want the reputation? Is it the creative freedom? Is it finding some whole new way of communicating that just breaks things open for people? Do you want to be working just on commission projects, really high-end luxury kind of work? Or do you want to be producing quality, affordable artwork on the high street that anyone can access? Do you want to be in a particular gallery? Do you want to be working in a certain place in the world because you just love the light or the vibe or something? And you can have your vision be as big or small as you want. Some people think your visions have to be like massive things, but I mean, and it can be. If you have a great big vision, then go for it. But it can just be, I want to be earning enough money that I can keep expressing myself through my work, or I can keep experimenting, or I can just keep working with the people I want to work with. You can also have several visions, you know, 2 or 3 visions working along in tandem. So it could be, well, I want to be able to do my work in oils, but I also want to be a photographer, and I also want to be doing, I don't know, making films or doing sculpture. I don't think there's anything wrong with having several visions, because they all ultimately feed into each other, and they all represent the wholeness of you as a person, your different parts of personality. So if you like, in the whole vision of your life, it's perfect to have several strands going along.
And I do recall from the full length version of this webinar that you did mention kind of not having too many all at once. You can have different elements to them, but maybe up to kind of 3, just to keep ourselves focused, because we creatives do have so many ideas, and we need to be able to achieve them, obviously. Now, how then, when you have these visions, do you keep them alive?
Well, there are lots of ways to do it. I had one particular project that I was doing over the course of a year, and I had a song, Waterloo Sunset, by the Kinks, which I played every single morning for a whole year until I achieved my goal. And that just kept me on track, kept reminding me what I wanted to do. As I was listening to this about 3-minute song, for that 3 minutes I was completely in my vision, and I could think, okay, what's the next thing I have to do? You can use a vision book. I also use one of these, which is a book where I just collect all these ideas, pictures, words. You can scribble in it, you can put post-it notes in it. So it's a real living thing that's working and growing with your vision. You can have a little phrase that you have in your head. Victoria Beckham very famously had this phrase that she wanted to be as famous as Persil. I think that's worked for her, you know, and it's just something simple. You can have it written down on a little piece of paper that you have in your wallet, so every time you open your wallet, you read this. Or you can have a photograph. It could be, you know, your dream house or your dream car, or, you know, a picture of the Turner Prize or whatever, you know, and you think, yeah, that's what I'm aiming for. So every time you open your purse or your sketchbook, there it is looking at you.
That's great. That's such a great thing about the opening your purse, your wallet, this kind of thing. I mean, that's just excellent. Now, how does one also take action towards achieving a vision?
This is really key, because without taking action, it's just a wonderful daydream. So you have to move forward. And one of the problems that I encounter a lot with people that I coach is they see themselves kind of on ground level, and their vision is at the top of the mountain, and they just don't see how they can do it. This is one reason why it's good to have a vision that's, you know, a year or 3 years or 5 years ahead, because that gives you time to move forward. And I always say take one step at a time, take one action a day. And it could be one big action, like spending a whole day on just brainstorming all the possibilities. Or it could be just 10 minutes on Google to find out where you could go for that course. Who's the person who writes the articles in the magazine you want to be featured in? How do I get into these open exhibitions? So, but if you just do one thing a day, and one thing a day could actually be, okay, when I'm sitting on the bus from A to B this morning, I've got 15 minutes, I'm just going to spend it thinking about what can I do next, but really consciously spending that time thinking about it. But just keep taking these actions, and what often happens is that it kind of builds up a momentum. First of all, you keep going with it, and so all the time you're ticking off things that you've done, so you're making progress. And then, using the analogy again of the mountain, you know, you're crawling up the mountain one step at a time, and something will happen that's almost like somebody coming along in a car and saying, well, I'll give you a lift for the next 2 miles. You know, they show you a shortcut. They get you in to see somebody you hadn't thought about. You know, so it just keeps moving things along.
Great. I mean, that sounds like that's really very realistic as well, which is clearly essential to be making those steps towards the bigger picture. Debs, you are full of so much advice. How can people keep up to date with you and keep hearing the gems of wisdom?
Well, thank you for that, Susan. People can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is fireworksdhp. I have a weekly blog that's on my website, which is catchingfireworks.co.uk, and that's like productivity hints, vision hints, and just my idle musings. And I have a monthly newsletter where I pass on information I've found and contacts and websites, etc., which I think might be of use to people. But Twitter is the best place because I'm quite active on there, and I love meeting new people on there.
And I dare say that's how we met as well.
Indeed.
Deb, thank you so much for your time today, and for the audience who is watching this video recap on defining your vision. I'm also pleased to say that Deborah has come on board as one of our creative specialists. So she's part of the one-to-one program at Be Smart About Art. So anybody who would like to have more from Debs, that you can in fact enroll into the program. All you need to do is go to the one-to-one program page on the website, complete an application form, and then you'll be able to potentially have the opportunity to have some really one-to-one work with yourself, working on your own vision for the future and the days, weeks, months, and years to come. As ever, it's been a pleasure to do this Art World monthly webinar, and you can find us on @BeSmartAboutArt on Twitter. As we say, art is your life, make it your living. Please go and do that, and continue coming back for more at BeSmartAboutArt.com. Thank you very much, Debs.
Thank you, Susan. Bye-bye.